Hey, beautiful souls, welcome to this video. I'm sorry that it's blurry. I've tried everything I can do. I hardly make videos anymore. And this is on my laptop and it's not a filter. So I'm sorry if you're watching this on the TV, it's going to be even more blurry. But I wanted to do this video today, really important for the Divine Feminine. It's very important on their path to do with connection. And a program that's been implanted in us over years and years and years that most divine feminines, most women I see are running this program. So the narrative for over a decade when it comes to the divine feminine doing her work and whether she is in connection with somebody else already, like her divine partner, or whether she is manifesting in a divine partner, a soul connection. The narrative is always that the feminine has to have it all together. She has to be successful. She has to be abundant in all ways. So she has to obviously be thriving with money, thriving with a business if she runs her own business, very successful, fully in her own sovereignty, right? Now, when you say to someone, you have to be in your own sovereignty, that's not something that takes a few years to do, right? There's a huge process, especially when the divine feminine, unbeknownst to a lot of women out there, are carrying a lot of ancestral karma and things that we've come in this life to do. So it's not just about coming in, finding your divine partner or defining your soul connection or being with a high soulmate, coming together, expanding that love out to the world, yes, which is great, that high vibrational, beautiful, divine frequency. It's not just about that, although obviously we want to do that, but it's also about both doing their inner work, as we know, and getting to a point where they can be in a sacred union, where they can be in a connection. Even if we're talking a high soulmate, which is different, but they need to, if you're talking like a conscious relationship, even a soulmate conscious relationship, it's about having done the work, being able to communicate, being able to be in a higher vibrational frequency in the marriage, in the union, right? So it's all relationships that moving in to the new era, okay, the new earth, the new frequency of earth. When we say new earth, it's because earth is moving into a new frequency, right? So for your relationship or union to sustain that frequency and be able to, otherwise you're in and out and you're dropping into 3D and fighting and arguing and all the wounds come up, the rejection, abandonment, all the childhood wounds, right? Unworthiness, everything. And so we have to do that work, okay? So when we talk about you must be in your sovereignty before you attract or manifest your divine partner or, connection, it puts a lot of pressure on the woman to, sorry, I just realized, am I recording this? Yes. It puts a lot of pressure on the woman because the divine feminine then thinks, oh my God, I have to do, not only do I have to do all this work of my own from this lifetime, but we are clearing ancestral patterns, right? And templates. So I've got to clear all that. I've got to transform all that. I've got to transform this, transform that. Like there's a whole lot going on, right? And if you're like me, like I've been on this path for nearly 2 decades, my soul journey I've been on my whole life. But in terms of understanding to do the inner work, to step into your soul activated work, I've been on this for nearly 2 decades. So when you are told different narratives from teachers, from coaches, from what's online, social media, da 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 da, because everyone's got an opinion. One of the biggest misleading false narratives, it's not a truth, is that the divine feminine has to have everything together. She has to be raking in the big bucks, raking in the dough. I'm not just talking a few thousand, like she has to be really raking it in. She has to be, have her own home, have her own this, have her own that, have her own abundance, be able to kind of click her fingers and manifest a holiday and be able to, manifest perfectly. And you have to be in your sovereignty. So you have to be also out there or vibrating at a high frequency all the time, or being able to walk your talk every minute of the day and all of this stuff, right? It's fucking impossible. It is impossible for a divine feminine to be at that level and sustain it, right? And that be her default button before she manifests a divine partner. Now, I don't care if you don't believe that, but that is the truth, right? I've been on this path long enough to know the bullshit that's out there. So what happens is, and that one of the narratives is, oh, you'll never find, they'll never come, or you won't manifest them, or you won't attract them until you're at definitely a huge level of your sovereignty. Bullshit. Okay. So what's happening here is energetically, you are keeping that divine partner at arm's length while you're playing catch up to get to where you think you need to be before that person comes in, before you allow that person to come in, right? Because you're saying, oh, I've got to make money. Okay. My business has got to be running better. I've got to do like all these things that you're always chasing. And while this is blocking you, by the way, as well, that's why if you're doing this, you're not getting there. Okay. You might have a little, dribbles come in. You might have successful months. You might have a successful year in your business. But energetically, what you are sending, the message you're sending out is that when I'm done all this and I'm at this level, then I will open the door for you. Then you'll come in, right? Because that's the programming of the divine feminine with the teachings over the last 10, 15 years. And don't say it's not, because it is, right? Because I've been in this game, whatever you want to call it. It's not a game, but I've been in this situation and online with coaching for years and all that, and I know what narratives out there. Now, I used to hear this, and I'll be honest, it never really felt right to me because it didn't happen for me. It happened the other way, right? I was at one of my worst times of my life when my divine masculine walked into my world, walked into my path, literally walked into my path. I had a change. So I had PTSD, I had depression, I was really suffering from a trauma, couldn't get out of bed. I was trying to keep it all together. To the outside world, a lot of my close friends knew what was happening. I had a lot of awful thoughts. My brother came in, whisked me off to overseas to the Greek islands for a holiday. I kind of went kicking and screaming because it wasn't my bed, right? If you've ever had depression, you know what I'm talking about. Cried all the way to London, cried all the way to Greece. I was there for a month. It was one of the best times of my life. I got over a hurdle. I healed myself. We went to a little island called Foligandros. I sat on the edge of the cliff looking over the water, and I wrote and I wrote and I poured my heart out and I poured everything out. And guess what? I could see things so more clearly when you're on the other side of the world. Changed. I came back and I put things in place to remove those people in my life completely that had caused the trauma, or just other parts of my life, to start fresh. And 2 weeks later, my divine masculine walked into my path. Now, let me tell you, I was far from sovereign, far from having much money, far from manifesting my dream life. Hell, I wasn't even on my soul path then. right? Like I've been on a spiritual being since I was a kid. If you've read my book, you'll know I've always been able to do this stuff. But was I living it and walking it? No way. So I was still like I'd changed. I'd obviously changed the frequency. I'd sent a message to the universe. Okay, I'm ready for something new. Um, and but I was far from healed. I still had a lot of healing to do. Um, so I knew, and I've had other, and along the way, I've had other beautiful soul sisters that I became friends with that also met their divine partners at times in their life where they definitely weren't following their soul path or had it all together. So, this whole narrative about you have to be sovereign, you have to have lots of money, you have to have done everything you want to do, you have to have set it all up so that when they come in, you're at this frequency together and all. Please, please don't believe it anymore because that's not the case. And what happens is you keep chasing it and you keep pushing a divine partner away. Now, whether you are trying to manifest a new one, whether you're manifesting just a one that you haven't met before, whatever, it does not matter. I'm talking about a conscious relationship where you're both, and again, you could still have issues and karma and some trauma, and so can they, right? It's about being at that conscious level of the connection and that love to be able to come in and be that support for each other, to be able to hold space for each other, to be able to just be, spiritually mature enough to understand how it works between a partner, right? And you don't have to have everything, you don't have to have all your T's crossed and your I's dotted. So when you decide to shift that, when you think, you know what, I don't have to look better, I don't have to have this in my life. Oh my God, they can't show up until I have this done, or they can't show up until I have that done, or because until I'm in this stage of my life. Once you release all of that and you just be you and accept you, because it's also part of you not accepting your life and where you are, right? Honoring yourself, sister. Where have you been? What have you done? What traumas have you carried, right? What have you healed? Express. You've done a lot of work, right? So we've carried a lot for years. Some of us have had obviously different dynamics than others. You know, I was a single mum from the time my daughter was 8. You know, that in itself is really hard. And it's something that you could never explain to other people unless they go through it, you know. Um, so there's lots of different dynamics that you juggle as you go through your life and as you go through your healing while those things are being juggled as well. And it's a lot of pressure to put on yourself. But guess what? When you release that and you say, oh my God, I love myself how I am. I love myself for everything I've done and everything I've been through. And I'm really like, just have so much respect for yourself and honor for the work you've done. And just know that you show up every day not knowing what that day is going to be like, yeah, okay, you do your best. And when, especially when you're empathic, when you're on this path, when you've got a divine connection that you're feeling all the time, whether you're physically with them or not, that energy's there, so you're feeling their emotions. There's a lot happening. So we put too much pressure on ourselves, and the world of social media and the world of narrative to the divine feminine of you have to be in your sovereignty before you attract, your conscious partner. Stop it. Stop listening to those people, right? And if anyone comes in the comments and starts to talk to me about this, like, have a go, because I am damn sick and tired of this fucking twin flame soul connection industry that's putting out so much BS. I don't even use the word twin flame anymore. You know why? Because it's got so much infiltrated baggage. When I started this journey nearly 2 decades ago, didn't know anything about divine soul connections or anything. It was what you researched then was completely different to what you researched the last 10 years, because there's so much crap online, right? You've got nasty, like narcissistic people that have had, experiences, and a lot of them have not even been with a twin, they've been with a karmic. So, anyway, but I'm not getting into that. There definitely is a twin flame template that was indoctrinated and spewed a lot of shit out to the world. And, but those that are in connection know what I'm talking about. But there is so much said about you've got to do it this way and you've got to do it that way. And guess what? Firstly, every connection is different. Everyone's journey is different because everyone's soul path and connection is different. I have put a lot of videos out over the years, lots and lots, about how twin flames or soul divine partners, how they can be different, how their soul is different, as in to other divine connections, I mean. A lot of about where they fit in the divine soul chain, all sorts of stuff. And I won't put those videos out again because I've done them. But those people that are coming online over the last 5 years and discovering their divine partner or a connection to somebody, okay, you need to speak to people like us that have been doing this for a very long time and have seen what's out there. And I'm not telling you, like, I've been caught up in things too. Absolutely. This is why I'm sharing this video, because I got caught up in that. And I went for years and years and years thinking, oh my God, like, we have this beautiful connection. It's amazing. I know we're here to be together and all of that, but I've got to have this first, and everyone's telling me I've got to be successful first, and I've got to write that next book, and I've got to, do that next movie script, or I've got to la da 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 da, right? Or I've got to put out another offer for my clients, and it just went on and on and on and on. As soon as I finished one project, I was on to the next. Finished the next, on to the next. Oh God, that's still not making me enough money. Oh God, that's still not making me what I need. Oh, I'm still not where I need to be. And guess what? The more I chased it, the more it just eluded me. Okay, so you just have to let it all go and stop chasing it and just be and say, you know what, I don't need to be any kind before I attract it. I mean, yeah, to a certain degree, you need to have done a bit of work. Like, I've done a lot of like decades of work, but you need to have definitely started your soul journey or just had a shift of some sort in your consciousness. That'll do it. So, all right, I'm going to leave it there, beautiful souls. I hope this really helped you, and I could have gone a lot deeper, but I think that a lot of people don't want to hear the truth out there. There's going to be a lot of feminines are going to go, oh God, that makes sense. Like, and this is your permission. This video is your permission slip to say, okay, I need a break. Like, you know what? I just need to come back to be centered and open the door. Open the door to my heart. Open the door to a divine masculine walking in. Open the door to letting them, because whilst you're over here playing chase, chase, they're feeling that energy and they're going, I don't know what my cue is. That's the energy. Oh, she's over there, just keeps doing another thing and another thing and another thing and another thing. And okay, because guess what? We also put out that energy. So we're sovereign and we don't need anybody. That is what happens. The whole feminine thing has really got out of hand with people thinking that, we need to be sovereign again, as in just speaking up, speaking our truth, connecting to our heart and our soul, walking our path, right? Being truthful out there, being honest, being in a conscious connection and relationship with ourselves, doing the inner work, okay? Not sweeping it under the rug, not being in avoidance, not feeling rejected and abandoned, and right, go heal that stuff. But you know what? We just need to forgive ourselves and say, I'm open to this. You know what? Yeah. Let them in. Let them in to support you, to love you, to care for you, and to help you, help each other move forward into the next stage. I hope this helped. I might be back soon. Take care, beautiful souls. Love yous. Bye.